Good afternoon, respected teachers.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, everyone.
So the guest will join in the next 2-3 minutes. You can ask all your friends to join in.
Yes, ma'am.
Hosts, are you all ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay, great. So just next about 2-3 minutes, we'll begin. Please ask everyone to join in.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, Rahul sir.
Hi, good afternoon, Anu. Good afternoon, everyone. How are you, Anu?
Doing great, sir.
Just put message on your three group, na Anu? Ask
Yes,
everyone.
I'm doing that only, sir. In that now, right now only.
If someone could tell year one, because a lot of year one students I don't see in the year one joining in.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Thanks, Shruti.
Ma'am, I already put the message, ma'am.
Okay. Good afternoon, Himika. You're on mute. Yeah.
Now,
Good afternoon, Himika.
good afternoon. How are you?
Welcome to Podar World College once again. Very good. How are you, Himika?
Perfect, perfect. Doing very, very well. So nice to have you, to meet all of you all today. First day of the week.
Lovely. So in the next maybe 2 minutes, we could begin. The students are just joining in.
Lovely, lovely.
Thank you. Ask all your friends to come in quick. We'll begin in the next 2 minutes. Okay, so mostly students are in and maybe some will join in. I'll just check. Himika, are we okay to begin? Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready to begin. Um,
Okay. So just give us 2 minutes. We'll have a formal introduction. Yes. Riddhi and Raj, over to you. Let's begin.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope all of you are doing great this afternoon. I'm Miss Riddhi Dhanuka, a level 4 student pursuing BA Honours in Business Management at Podar World College. Along with me, I have my classmate, Mr. Raj Shah, who's also a level 4 student at the program. The BA Honours Business Management program at Podar is a practical-oriented course that links theoretical learning with industry-based research that helps us students understand the application of our learning on companies and firms. The vision and mission of the program are to build the 21st century skills amongst our students that are required to be utilized in a work-based dome. These include resource management skills, digital literacy skills, and overall knowledge-based learning. Before we start the event, I request the audience to put their microphones on mute.
Hello everyone. My name is Raj Shah and I'm a level 4 student as well. I'm a budding entrepreneur and I'm simultaneously carrying out my academics. This course helps me to manage my education and business with efficiency as it is a practical based learning curriculum. We have all assembled here today to understand the importance on creating successful brands in all budgets. Yes, you heard that right. In these crucial times where firms are facing shortages of resources inflows, it is important to understand where to cut corners and curb expenses, yet create a brand awareness of a company on various digital platforms. We have among us to further enlighten us about the topic Ms. Himika Ganguly. Ms. Himika is a corporate communications professional who holds competencies in social media management, PR, B2B and B2C promotions, and client servicing to name a few. She is heading her own enterprise named Daydreamers, which is in a content development of storytelling by working professionals who have gone out there to make their dream into a full-blown business venture. She has designed unconventional career paths amongst wonderful individuals who have had incredible professional journeys. Really excited to hear about your story. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Raj. Thanks for the lovely introduction, and thank you so much, Priya, for giving me the opportunity. So today's topic is minimum kitty, maximum rewards. How do small brands make it big in all kinds of budgets? Or let's say, how do brands make it big in all kinds of budgets? And when we say that, most importantly, we will have to focus on the small budgets with the smaller kitties. So before I start this, I think Riddhi had asked a lot of you all to, mute your screens, but I would ask some 10-12 of you all to please unmute, because I will need to talk to at least 10 or 12 of you all immediately first. So who can unmute right away? Do we have? Okay, so do we have now? Great. So let me take the name of I can say Anupul.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Anupul.
Hi, ma'am.
Anupul, Raj, if you could also participate. Then can Riddhi, you also participate in this? Riddhi, then Anjana Kumar, yes, that's a student. So Anjana can participate. I can't see Anjana's face. Can she come on video? There is Mankani. Komal, hi. Could you unmute?
Hi, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm very good. Sure. There is Rahul. Rahul, could you unmute? Hi. Can you also unmute? Right. So we have people right now who are talking to. So I would request you to take part in this little exercise. What I need to do is, if you could, be 7, 8 muted, the rest can be muted. Yeah, okay with these people. The rest can be. Great. So what I would request you to do is that for the say 15 seconds, I would request you all to loudly, as loud as you say your name, surname, your place of birth, The college you study, your hobby, and your dreams for life. I want you all to say this as loudly, repeatedly. So, at the count of, I'll give you 5 to 1. At the count of 1, you all have to say, okay? As loudly in any speed that you all want to, it's up to you all. Just keep saying it, and you all don't have to do it at all with yourselves, among yourselves. So, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Start.
Raj Kalpesh Shah.
All of you are together.
Anubul Ganesh from BAB.
No. I need all of you all together to start telling. Together. It doesn't have to be first Raj, first Anupul, then Riddhi, second Riddhi or third. No. All of you all together. Start. And loud. I'll show you all. It's going to be like, I'm Himika Ganguly. I work in Times Network. My hobbies are singing, dancing, going for parties, and my dream destination is Paris or Dharamshala. Just go on saying things about yourself. All together simultaneously. Can we start?
Do it at the count of 3, guys. 1, 2, and 3, go.
My name is
Anup.
We'll try again at the count of 3. All of you together should tell your names and whatever she has asked at the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, go.
My name is
My name is
Raj.
Anubul Ganesh, and I study in BABM year 3 from Podar World College, which is affiliated to University of Wolverhampton. And my hobbies are like listening to music, cycling.
1 minute. But only one person is still talking. I need all of you all to talk. I need Komal also to talk. I need Rahul also to talk. I need Adish also to talk. I need Anjana also to talk. I need all of you all to talk. Together. So we'll start again by the count of 3. 3, 2, 1. All of you all together, please start.
Okay.
Okay, my name is Rahul.
My name is
My name is Komal.
I'm roaming about,
Perfect. Perfect. This is what I needed to hear. This is exactly what I needed to hear. So, in a nutshell, today's topic is just this. What did all of you all together when you all spoke sounded like? It sounded like more like a fish market or a vegetable market, right? Where everybody was shouting, screaming, and telling about themselves.
Yes.
That's exactly what marketing is. Making your voice heard in the fish market. That's exactly what branding and making noise about your brand is all about. Getting heard in the fish market. Because the market that we are talking about today is a fish market with too many brands coming. The startup culture in India has emerged to another level today. There is a startup about everything. Recently, I think there was a startup that I read about called Riaz, where you can do learn music, learn Indian classical and Carnatic music just on virtually today. So that's what the market is today that we are talking about. Now, when we talk about this market, the mediums are these many that we know of. There is print, there is online, there is television, there is outdoor. Then we know the names, and of course, there is a lot of digital. And digital, of course, as we all know, is the cheapest of them all today and the most used one. Influencers have been made on it. A lot of innovation is happening. Every day there is some new innovation happening on digital, etc., etc. But before going into the mediums, which will be these many, what one needs to consciously realize is what will be the tactics that will be followed, whether it is digital, whether it is traditional marketing. So some easy tactics, especially for the smaller brands, is something that I'm going to tell you today, which is just maybe 4 or 5 of them. But these 4 or 5 of them are being used extensively in the market, and they are really They have really helped small brands see growth, vision, the numbers that they want in the market. Okay. So the first, this is going to be more like the rule book kind of a thing. And what I would request you all to do is to just remember the rule, and possibly then there is a small exercise that I'm going to give you all. You all can possibly work on that exercise and send me your answers. The first rule that I would like to give you is befriend the big fish. When I say befriend the big fish, have any of you all been to an aquarium or been for one of those, cruise or ship rides where they take you to a certain place to show you the dolphin or to show you the blue whale or something like that? Have any of you all done it ever? Now, if
Yes, ma'am. I've gone through this, ma'am.
Amazing, amazing. So tell me something. Why does anybody want to see the big fish? What is so amazing about that big fish? The big fish, or maybe a fish that is capable of performing some tricks, etc. Maybe like a dolphin who can jump around. What is so interesting about any of these fishes? The big
The
one.
hype, the hype, because the people say it is so good, it is so good. That's why you want to see it. It's just a hype.
Right. So now if everyone notices the big fish and it is the attraction of the sea, it gives you a guarantee that the big fish is already known to the public. Now in front of it, consider a smaller fish, a small tiny little fish which is known to no one practically. Now imagine when this dolphin is doing its tricks, is jumping around the sea. What if a small fish starts coming right in front of it and starts matching with its jump? What will happen? Or suppose there's a shark in the water and a smaller fish is putting food in its mouth constantly, putting food that is not itself, other kind of food in its mouth. What really happens? While you were noticing the big fish, now you also start noticing the small fish. In fact, you will notice the small fish more because you see that it is capable to develop a cordial relationship with the big fish. Your confidence and trust in the small fish begins to grow. He suddenly becomes the hero of the show. That's exactly what small brands need to do a lot of times, which is a fantastic trait of marketing. There's a small brand called, I think, Entisty or Entisy chocolates. It is a homegrown Bombay brand. I think it launched in 2017 and didn't make a lot of noise for the longest time. And then what Entisy did is eventually it started going to these big malls, invested in taking little kiosks there, which went on to be becoming bigger shops. But whenever there were food carnivals happening in these malls, they started promoting themselves heavily and started giving out freebies to people or discounts. What happens because of that is now Entisy, which is a brand that nobody knows about, goes and starts doing marketing in a food carnival of maybe an Oberoi mall with brands like a KFC, like a McDonald's, which people anyways know about. So when people see the marketing of an Oberoi mall, which is a conscientious brand which everybody knows about, and they see a KFC, a McDonald's, and an Entisy chocolates right in front of that, curiosity builds among them. What is this brand? Who is this new person, new player in the market that we haven't heard about so far? People eventually start going to Entisy, and that is when the brand gets built, revenue starts coming into the brand, and here, very conveniently, one brand, a small brand, takes advantage of a bigger, non-competing brand, but another brand which is playing in almost the same ecosystem, but not a competitor brand, and starts gaining popularity by sitting on its back. That is now this can happen. It happened on the offline markets. Now it can also happen in an offline store, but it can also happen in online promotions. Two brands, a smaller brand can build some kind of a deal with the bigger brand and start promoting with it. Imagine if a brand like McDonald's spoke about a certain range of potatoes which was better than the other range of potatoes. If they could say that, potatoes of this brand are far better and I use these potatoes. our confidence in that kind of potatoes, because we have been eating French fries for such a long time, just begins to grow more. So that is a very good trait in marketing, which we see constantly happening in the market, where small brands start relying on bigger non-competing brands. So that's the first thing, befriend the big fish. The second one, which I would say, is you have to stop being Santa Claus when you're the big brand, when you're the small brand. Now, a lot of big brands, maybe an HUL or a PepsiCo, because of the kitty that they have the leeway to cater to everybody coming to them. It doesn't matter what the psyche or the demographics is, they will cater and cater and cater because they have the reach, they have years of brand business behind them, they have the capability. But a small brand does not have that kind of capability. A good example is a brand called McCafe. What McCafe did is, now when it comes to skincare products, there are skincare products available in which have possibly contains of fruits in it, or contains of some different kinds of teas in it. But McCafe thought about it very smartly, that if I cater only with a coffee constituent in my product, what I do is I might lose people, or might lose a sizable amount of people who might want to use products only with constituents of maybe a honey or a milk or different kinds of oranges and citrus fruits, etc. But at the same time, I am going to be catering to that small section very religiously that is looking for skin care that involves the constituent of coffee. That worked brilliantly well for them. They didn't go for the buffet, they went for the premium a la carte version. That is something that really helps small brands to focus that, see, my marketing budget is so much, I will consciously try understanding who are my audience and I will market only to them. Now, whether I market through Instagram, whether I market through Google SEO or through smart keywords, that is a separate conversation altogether. And that can happen either through traditional marketing or through digital marketing. But the point is the psyche of a brand, that I will not cater to everybody. I will cater only to a sizable number of people who will be interested only in a certain kind of a product. So from a product point of view, from a product marketing point of view, that is a very conscious decision that a brand like McCafe takes when it is new in the market. It relies on customization of a certain kind. And from what I know, McCafe has recently got a very decent amount of funding also because of this thought process. So that's the second on product marketing. The third would be a very age-old tactic that brands have been using. If you remember, we used to have this thing about you buy one and you get another for discount. Or if you buy two products, you get the third on discount. So basically, you show them the cake, give them the smallest bite for free, and then you snatch the cake away. That is the third trait. Now, this is something which I think a lot of OTT channels have done. If you remember, when OTT channels came to India, Netflix, Amazon Prime, or even the recent ones, the new ones, Hotstar, etc., in the very beginning, they started giving out a lot of video content for free. It was absolutely free. And then slowly they went from the free model to the premium models, where they got you used to the idea of watching content and then made the best of its content premium. For example, Hotstar did a very smart thing. While they kept a lot of their content free, but with Game of Thrones, if you want to watch Game of Thrones, you would have to move to premium viewership. So the idea is to entice the viewer or entice your audience by giving them something free, get them used to you so much that eventually they see, again, a very important trait here that has to be there for the brand is that the brand has to be fantastic. Nobody will get used to your brand if your brand is not good, if your product is not good. That's something that every product has to remember. No branding can work if the product is bad. It is bound to fail. So constant product betterment has to be a part of every program that any corporation brings forward. But from a point of view of something that we call the freemium model in branding terms, This really helps a lot of brands where they get you used to what they deliver and eventually start charging for it in a small way, in a sly way, and after a point that you get used to it. So that's your third one. Fourth is something that a very big brand did, but a lot of small brands have also started working in this. I think we all know about a brand called Lego. Have you all heard of Lego? So
Yes, ma'am.
what Lego did is Lego launched something called the Lego Creator Store, where people were supposed to come on the store, create their accounts, use Lego products, and start designing different kinds of models with Lego products, put it up on the site, and then people from across the world can come and grade it. And eventually what happens is a brand like Lego then decides whether this brand that calls you the best creative of the week or the best creative of the month. And what happens is, for anybody, it becomes a very high point that a huge brand like Lego has spoken in favor of them. The idea here is to employ your customer. Make your customer create your product. And in the process, what you do is, one, you sell the product, because while you're employing your customer, you're also giving them employment in a way where you're asking them to use your product to create something more out of it. It's increasing your sales in a very big way. Second thing is, when any kind of customer works with your brand so much, you also employ digital strategies where you ask them to share this on Instagram or Facebook or different social models. They start becoming custodians of your product. They start talking about it, that, this is what I did with Lego. This is how, please come, please vote for me, please watch this, hashtag Lego, etc., etc., etc. The brand's value, the noise about a brand begins to increase when something like this happens. So a fourth very interesting strategy always happens to be where you employ your customer very smartly. Has anybody, there are 4 tactics that we spoke about. One was befriend the big fish, stop being a Santa Claus, show them the cake, give them the smallest bite for bite free, and then snatch it away. And the fourth was employ your customer. There is one more called pay as you want, but that is not a very prevalent tactic anymore in the market, for a simple reason that this kind of a tactic doesn't work in the long run. Which a few brands I remember did in the West. What they did is, when they started markets or started their shops, they or maybe after some time, when they just wanted to generate greater numbers coming to their shops, they started following this tactic that, what, I will bring some charitable cause to my brand. What you are supposed to do is, especially food brands can do this, come buy from me and possibly pay me whatever you want to pay me. Now, the human psyche is such that when you employ any kind of a charitable cause to the brand, people's psyche change around it. They land up paying a lot of times more than what the worth of the brand or the product really was. Having said that, while a lot of people will do this, a lot of people will not pay at all. And that begins to work against the brand. So this kind of an exercise works brilliantly well whenever there is maybe a 2-week or a 2 days in a month kind of a festival involved with them. But at the same time, it fails, and brands have failed disastrously when this has become a way of selling, or the only way of selling for a brand. So that's then in terms of the tactics that we can use, of course, we all know about social media, we all know about influencer campaigns, etc. While that works brilliantly well, I personally feel that one big mistake that brands are making today is they don't choose influencers very consciously. Everybody's becoming an influencer, and eventually any kind of trend that goes on for too long and where too many people invest in eventually sees a fall. So maybe influencers is a fantastic place to be in, but brands need to more consciously choose their influencers. So there are certain no-nos, like the pay as you want is a no-no if not done consciously. Influencers is a no-no if not done consciously. But the rest of them, like collaborating with the bigger players of the market who are not competitive to you, customization, then freemium models, and then employing your customer to create along with you, a process called co-creation. These are fantastic ideas that brands which are smaller in size and which have a smaller budget can employ. And we have seen a lot of success with these kind of brands. I think Mama Earth has done something like that. Mintra, when it started off, did a lot of this. Currently we have a lot of food brands that have employed people to come and tell them as to what kind of, for example, ice cream flavors they want to see, or what kind of we have seen a lot of travel companies in fact do this, about what kind of travels do people really want to take. Customization based on the customer's needs has become a very important trend in the current market situation. So yeah, so that's all. What I would request you all to do is a small exercise, and maybe you can think about it for the next 1 week and send me the answers. These 4 styles of marketing that I gave you, Befriend the, I don't know if you've noted it down. Maybe I can speak to your team and ask them to send it to you. If you can find examples in the market of how these tactics have been used in the market, and come up with a case study, then I think it would be great. I would love to see your ideas and your study about the prevalent brands in the market and how any of them have employed any of this. I've given you examples of McCafe, I've given you examples of NTC chocolates, and there are so many because it's such a large market today with small, medium players trying all kinds of innovative marketing. So yeah, so we'd love to see that from your side. That's it. I guess, is Priya there?
Hello, ma'am. This was a wonderful session. It was really insightful, and I'm glad that you removed time from a busy schedule to address our students. And it helped us understand the nitty-gritties of how creating your own brand and a company works. Thank you so much. We'll surely, send you the research. I'm really excited. I'm actually looking forward to it. Anyone in the audience, does anyone have any questions relating to any 5 rules that ma'am said or anything? Anyone? Actually, I have one. So, ma'am, being an entrepreneur myself, I would like to understand what the investment amount, would be like when you are trying to create your own content, for your own brand, when you are trying to create your own brand. So, I would like to understand, the financial side of it.
So you're asking me for just pure marketing, or from a very entrepreneurial level of setting a company, which is the question?
From a marketing point of view, when it comes to digital marketing, especially.
Digital marketing first, I would always say that instead of going to all social media platforms, which is a mistake I think a lot of brands that are not in the B2C space do, they try going everywhere. Consciously, my suggestion to somebody who's new in the market would be consciously choose 1 or 2 digital media platforms that you think will work best for your brand. For example, if somebody is working in the B2C space strongly, then you might not have to be on Instagram at all. LinkedIn and YouTube alone will work very well for you. So first, take a conscious choice of what is going to work best for you. That's the first part of it. And second, start with a smaller kitty. Now what happens with YouTube marketing is once you go there, you can put in the kind of money you want to invest in any kind of video that you're putting up or anything that you're setting up there for a small on a per day basis. Although there is a limited amount to it, ki itna to you have to put in, but it really depends on your QT. Now you can put in a week something like 2 lakhs into marketing, or something as small as maybe 1,000 rupees or 800 rupees into marketing. It's a call that you have to take, but my suggestion is always try putting real money in the beginning. See what kind of traction you're organically getting. At least for the first 5 months, avoid it. 5 months later, when your brand has at least through LinkedIn or through YouTube reached some amount of understanding among people, in 5 months at least people on your LinkedIn will know that this is what you're driving. After that, start putting the monies. So start small. I think even for a brand that I do, Daydreamers with Himika, where I interview startups and innovators, in a monthly basis, I put nothing more than 2,000 rupees in my marketing. So just do that much. Don't invest much. Don't invest until unless you have an investor. Once you have the investor, take all his money and put in it.
Thank you, ma'am. That's really helpful. Anyone else have any other questions?
Ma'am, what is the best strategy to launch a product in the market? The best strategy to launch.
The strategy, study the market. Go on studying the market and see where the gap in the market is. What is a need that has not been met? For example, now while there are simple examples will be a brand that is doing so well today, Nykaa.com. What Nykaa did is it very conveniently saw that while there was a Myntra.com, there was an Amazon.com, which was of cosmetics or skincare or makeup. Nobody was doing only that much. They were giving the buffet. Santa Claus. They were not going a la carte. So Nykaa took the convenient opportunity of being very specific and did only that much. So again, understand what is not being done in the market. I personally feel that if somebody tomorrow comes up with a aggregator app where you can find, you can aggregate small time players like the Mochis, example, so that somebody can come to your house and sew your shoes. So a problem that we, at least in COVID times, all the more don't find these little repairers or plumbers, then I think even that is going to work fantastically. It's just that somebody has to think about it and smartly build it. Need, gap, deliver. That's it. And keep it simple. The simplest
Ma'am, how do you come to know which is the right market for us?
How do you come to know for the right market for us? First, you have to ask yourself, whether your brand is a B2B brand or whether it is a B2C brand. There itself, your first few questions get answered. A B2B brand will have its certain niche market, a B2C brand will have its certain niche market. So what comes to your advertising budget, you will have to do a 60-40 or a 70-30 kind of a break in it. Depending on, for example, a B2C market, one has to be definitely more customer facing versus a B2B one. So you market accordingly depending on where you stand.
And if they're both then?
Sorry?
If it is both business to business and business to consumer then?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
If it is both business to business and business to consumer, then?
Business to, I mean...
It is both B2B and B2C.
So you're saying that your brand is B2B and B2C?
Yes.
But then find out which one is it more. Is it more B2B or is it more B2C? It's always going to be one more than the other. You know, like Wipro, for example, Wipro Limited. Now, Wipro Limited has two functions to it. There's Wipro Limited and Wipro Enterprises. Wipro Limited is more B2C, and one will be more B2B. So your brand has to consciously see, you have to constantly evaluate where you stand more. And based on that, find your audience and see who is your audience. That becomes a very important part of this. If your audience is more of the CXO level guy, then our LinkedIn marketing will work best for you. But if your audience is more of the college going kid, then maybe Instagram and everywhere where the college going kid goes more is going to be a better touch point for you. So you really have to keep assessing.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, ma'am.
Ma'am?
Yeah.
Ma'am, I had a doubt. Ma'am, what was the fifth point you mentioned, ma'am? In the fifth point, employee, it was something related to employees, right?
Employing your customer.
So, ma'am, while employing a customer, I think so if I'm not mistaken, I just wanted to clarify, we must also know their skills and traits, no? Like what are they good at, basically, ma'am?
So what happens is whenever a brand launches any kind of a campaign in the market, it is very obvious the people who have an interest in that campaign or somebody who has the right skill set of co-creation with the brand in the campaign will want to come in and participate. Now, what happens is there are certain key skills that everybody is interested in. For example, the right flavor of an ice cream building. That is something that everyone in some way or the other is interested in because everybody enjoys a good meal. Or the right kind of fabric or the right kind of dressing for myself. That's something that everybody will be interested in because everybody is interested in looking good in some way or the other. Or a little bit of art that, let me try creating a model of something. Little things are something that a lot of people are interested in. So when you're launching these kind of campaigns, that is when you're not supposed to go a la carte. That is when we have to try and build campaigns where more people will be interested in versus lesser. And that's how participation really happens.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
What are some strategies that brands have adopted due to COVID? I think that was the question, right? I think the one strategy that brands have adopted due to COVID is gone digital. I think the whole world is going digital at a much faster pace. This is also the time where most of your edutech brands have done exceedingly well. Strategies during COVID, unfortunately, most brands have lost money during the COVID season. But brands which have been able to do the digital jump have done very well. So as many people and as much of digital touch point that you can get, that's what is going to keep brands running during COVID. I personally feel that once this entire COVID, once more and more people are vaccinated and more people come under the safety zone, my reading is that the markets will grow phenomenally, because what is happening is, the reason why the numbers are rising in Maharashtra also right now is people are really dying to get out of their houses. People want to go to the malls. People want to go to the cinema halls. So any such, we have had plagues earlier in the world. So any kind of natural catastrophe has its shelf life, and eventually people always come back. So while this has been a bad phase, this bad phase is, markets are, if you ask me, bound to bounce maybe 2 times more once the vaccinations happen. So the trend, whatever has happened, the digital transformations in many ways has happened, but now I think eventually the time for that is over. But some brands have done phenomenally well. For example, whoever's working on the clean tech space has done phenomenally well, because people are more interested in cleanliness and hygiene than ever earlier. And how do they market themselves? Well, they have there are trade bodies for that, there are social media platforms for that. That is how the marketing will go about them.
Ma'am, I had one more question for you. So, brands over the years, they have been extensively marketing their products, like Nike and Amazon. They market their products a lot to reach to a higher segment, to reach to a higher customer base. So, what are the few marketing gaps and falls and shortcomings that you have observed over the years?
See, while you said that, they are reaching the premium space, I think a very big marketing gap which I know that there are 2 or 3 brands that I spoke to recently who are working on, is language continues to stay a big problem with a lot of brands. Today, a Nika.com or most brands, for most of their work, have been using English, while some of them have made themselves a little language agnostic. But what happens with the language change on a Google or any kind of technology employment is, the translations are never good enough. People don't understand. An autowala will not understand how to make a Paytm payment till the time it is not written in his language. So I think a big gap by a lot of brands like Amazon or like Nika and many more is that they are not catering well in terms of language to a country that has a phenomenally high number of languages. So that and when you can't do that, your whole purpose of branding is getting defeated, because no matter how much you spend, no matter what you do, if that guy doesn't understand what you have to say, it's never going to work. So language to me tends to be a very big problem among them. While we say that there has been a lot of 4G penetration, there are still so many parts of the country that don't have great networks. We all understand that when we travel, there are so many parts of the interiors of the country where network continues to be a problem. So these two, I think, are very important problems. And while we say that there are a lot of homegrown products, the problem with a lot of homegrown products, especially in the cosmetic space, which I see, is they're priced immensely high even now. I think pricing is something that really by a lot of brands, because that kind of extensive pricing, while might work very good in tier 1 cities, won't work in tier 3, where while makeup is still a luxury. So pricing, language, and networks.
Thank you, ma'am. That surely cleared my doubt.
Ma'am, I had a question. So how can small businesses, or any business for that matter, build better customer relationships online, digitally? Any strategy or tips you could share?
I'll give you something. I had an experience with, and that's not even a small brand, it was a big brand. And I say that this is the first thing that brands need to take care of. Nowadays, brands, for their customer relations, they employ online chatting, where they employ a bot. Now, what happens with bots is, a bot doesn't understand most of the time the question you're asking. They are fed information in a certain way, and they will only respond to you in a certain way, and most of the time your queries stay unsolved. So I think while technology works very well, but human intervention and sometimes employing humans becomes very important. So I think all kinds of brands, small or big, need to take care of that. Where humans are necessary, please bring them back. Or you grow so much in technology that your robot should understand what you're saying. I think that is definitely one. In terms of customer relations, I think a lot of brands are doing enough when they constantly ask questions, which a lot of small brands do, to their customers about what kind of improvement they want to see, which I see a lot of them doing consciously. There itself, they open space, open a door to the customers. Returns continue to be a problem with a lot of small brands, which I see very strongly happening, that if you're unsatisfied with the product, then many small brands don't know how to take care of it. They don't come back and do the follow-ups necessary. So I think that becomes a very important problem, because today, with the power of social media, you can troll a brand very easily. So small brands need to specifically take care of that. I know a brand called had a ban rust orange account built on Instagram, because people were so unhappy. Some people together seemed to be so unhappy with that brand. So wherever they don't do these little things properly, there itself brands can die their death. So, yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Does anyone else have any question? Okay, I'll take on.
I think Ms. Ganguly, good afternoon. This is Dr. Nag. What a very, very practical oriented lecture you have taken. Fantastic. I'm sure they have benefited a lot. Friends of students benefited a lot. Very practical and very, very nice lecture. Really appreciate that. Thank you very much for sparing your valuable time, ma'am, for our students. Thank you.
I think is Priya. Hi, Priya. Hi, Priya.
Yes, I was just going to come in. Yeah, thank you for that session. But there's more to come. Just hold on. Yes, Riddhik and Raj, would you like to take it further? There's something more from Himika yet to come for all of you. Yes.
So Ms. Himika is also providing our students with a 3-month digital marketing profile project with a stipend. She will now be briefing us about that project. This is surely something for all of us to look forward to. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Riddhik. So, have any of y'all gone, whenever y'all have wanted to learn something? For example, it could be something as basic as making dhokla. Have you all gone to YouTube, watch those videos how to make dhokla? Have any of you all ever done it? I'm just asking, not just dhokla, but anything. Have you all gone to learn anything?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Definitely.
Oh, even I did it just a few days back. And yes, I was trying to learn how to make dhokla. So what I noticed is that every time I have tried taking a demo tutorial and gone on a YouTube or any of these learning platforms, mostly YouTube, these videos happen to be some 10-minute, 15-minute long videos where the person who is doing the video will give you a long theory on which kingdom the dhoklas belong to, what it involves, किस खेत से ये बेसन आया है, da 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 da, and finally the dhokla video is like the tiniest thing on the whole thing. So I understood that was ये in a time like this where the audience attention span tends to only keep reducing, people don't need such long videos. So my idea here is something called learn in one, where I want to create, where I am going to create an Instagram, a social media offering first through different social media platforms. Constant tutorials in a fast mode, smart supers and graphics way will be created and put out so that every kind of tutorial is done in 1 minute flat. I'm not going to say that that the work can be done in 1 minute, but the tutorial can be definitely done in 1 minute. Through smart movement, one can definitely show how to create dhokla in 1 minute. Or the most important characters in a chess match for 1 minute. Like this is the horse, this is what the horse is. Or anything. How to plan a party in 1 minute. That is the plan. 1 minute tutorials for everything, right from doing yoga asanas to maybe launching a spaceship. So that's the plan. Now, why I think this is going to work, I believe that today the market that we are in, a lot of brands will want to buy in because brands constantly want to talk and tell the users how their brands can be used in different ways. A Maggie would love to show its users in 1 minute how many kinds of Maggie preparations can be done. Example. So brand integrations wise, I personally feel that maybe after 10 videos, 20 videos, the brand, a lot of brands will want to buy in. And going forward, the plan is that once that starts, to build an app, which is of course going to be again called Learn in One, where different users can come, create their accounts. The AI in the product will, in the app will help find out what their essential hobbies, skill sets are, which they can of course choose, and people can then start putting their own demo tutorials of 1 minute in that. And then the way it works in any kind of influencer programs where brands can come in, use that for advertising, gift these people something. People can be once money comes in, of course there's so much that you can do with it. So that's the idea. I hope I was able to explain it.
Ma'am, this idea sounds really interesting actually.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm really looking forward to be a part of this. I guess others are excited too. Over to you, Riddhi.
Yeah. Does anyone have questions regarding this?
Yeah, I just wanted to connect with Himika. Himika?
Yeah.
Hi, this is Anjana here.
Hi, Anjana.
I just introduce myself shortly. I have joined Podar World College just a week, 10 days back as a placement officer. I used to be heading HR, basically, in HR professional. I was heading HR for Centrum Capital for a long time. After that, I moved to, building an app, for fitness related because, I'm a, runner by heart. I've run several marathons and all that. So now I'm here to make a difference to the students, and align them with placements, as per the curriculum, etc. I think, personally to me as well, your session was, very, very insightful. I quite enjoyed it because it was so much, relevant, so much relevant. You could relate with. I think you come across as a great storyteller. In fact, I'm personally a fan. I have read that book of yours, The Great Indian Matrimonial Tamasha. All you students, if you have not read her books, please read that. You love to read that. I just came across that as, in crossword, and I picked it up and I quite enjoyed it, Himika. Personally, I, quite like that fiction of yours. Now, coming to the placements, I think I will connect with you separately. I'll take your email ID from Priya. I'll connect with you separately in terms of, how to go about the placements, what will be the job description, etc. And then we will circle with students and then take it ahead. So this is what I just wanted to share.
Sounds perfect to me. Sounds good. Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Himika.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Himika, for giving us for the project. I think it was very interestingly brought up. Just before we go ahead, I had two questions if you could highlight for the students. What if the first question is, in case the students, the ones who are looking at coming on to the project, what are the skill sets you would be looking at? You know, what skill set do you think they need to be equipped with if they want to apply for this project?
So most important is having a sense and some understanding of how social media platforms are working, to be interested in social media platforms first, and most importantly a platform like Instagram, because that's where a lot of work on this will happen. If somebody has understanding of how a lot of video content is shot, because these days such wonderful apps have come even for shooting that video content, if somebody has a sense of that, then that definitely works very much in favor of it. And somebody who wants to learn, more importantly, and if and pick up digital marketing tactics, think a little out of the box, that okay fine, maybe we can do a tutorial in something something like this or something like this, help growth, help with the reach, connect with more people. I think one very strong advantage that comes with working with students is friend circles. If they can spread the word, then that's what of the following is what really helps any of these kind of you know brands go forward, so initiatives go forward. So this is what I'm predominantly looking at, out of the box thinking, an understanding of social media platforms, and some video knowledge.
Lovely. So I hope students, you've heard Himika very well, because that's what Himika will be looking at when you start sending in your CVs.
And somebody who really wants to become an influencer, please come on board, because ek cheez to ho jayegi, you all will become influencers for sure.
Perfect, that's lovely. And second, in terms of their work, what would you be expecting it? What kind of timelines, targets would you be looking at for students?
So I would like to do 2 videos a week is what I'm looking at. Yeah, so I don't think that's going to take a lot of time, because a lot of work on that will be anyways done by me. So it's not going to take a lot of time really. We just have to maybe in the beginning of the week discuss and decide, maybe on a Friday or maybe on a Saturday or something, that kiss type ka videos we have to put out in the next week. And then of course we can work, they can do it, they can shoot the video on themselves, they can bring their friends and shoot the videos, whatever makes it comfortable. And in terms of the kind of graphics etc., for that I'm anyways planning to build a one kind of a vignette or one kind of a branding and put it on that. So then it's going to be just bringing new things, maybe changing the music a little bit, or that's something that I can anyways take care of. So of course I'll be teaching them also some of it, because obviously if they're coming on board, then they also would want to learn how to work with an iMovie or with different kinds of platforms like that. That's only, of course, if they are interested in learning. But yeah, so it won't take a lot of time. Few hours, maybe in a week is all this is going to take.
I think that's brilliant. Thank you for sharing that, Himika. Any questions any students have before we kind of take the session forward and conclude it? Anyone, you've heard the project, what it is all about. Anything you all would like to ask, please go ahead.
Ma'am, the skills you have mentioned, I'm not really good at it, but I'm interested in taking part at this project. I just have one skill, think out of the box. So I think that would be useful in this project.
Sure, so we'll discuss it. We'll definitely discuss it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you for showing interest.
Ma'am, I have a question. What is the duration of this project? Yeah.
3 months.
3 months starting.
If it works really well, then of course, we see how we go forward with it. Now, but 3 months, so definitely. And then when the brands start coming in, then I can promise you 2 things that we will work further if you're interested. And secondly, we can look at a revision in the payments also, because more money, it's an obvious step for me to increase the fees that I'm providing, the monies that I'm providing.
And ma'am, when is it? Like, which month are you looking at?
As soon as possible. That's the answer every brand manager gives you. As soon as possible. ASAP.
Okay.
Yesterday.
Ma'am, I am pretty much interested in it. So, like,
Sounds so good. Thank you. So let's discuss it. Priya, I think and Priya and Anjana, I will give you.
Yeah, we'll connect with you, Himika.
Absolutely. Any questions? Anyone more? Raj,
Yeah,
you
ma'am.
I think you want to ask the question.
So, ma'am, can you just drop in your email ID so anyone regarding anything regarding the internship can text you up?
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll roll out a requirement list for all of you. Okay, of course, first you have to start making a CV, and you'll have to provide us with that. Okay, and then we'll roll out an exact detail of how do we take it forward. Okay, so watch out, like I said, watch out the notices section. We'll roll out all the details required and how do you go about it, and then we take it forward with
I just
Himika.
request students for one more thing. My Daydreamers with Himika platform, for the longest time I was running it only via LinkedIn, but now I have recently started posting on YouTube also. So if you all could just subscribe to the channel, that would be really great. It's called Daydreamers with Himika. Just find that and you'll get it. So if any knowledge that you want to, because I interview a lot of startups in the next few days, I'll be in fact interviewing a lot of startups in the space tech space. So that's going to be right from companies like Bellatrix, companies like Satshore, subscribing to the ISRO right now. That's going to be the next big story, and there will be a lot more things coming up there. So if startups is your interest, then please subscribe to the channel.
Ma'am, what was the name you just mentioned, ma'am?
The name of the channel?
Yes, my YouTube channel, ma'am.
Daydreamers with Himika. Daydreamers.
Okay. Daydreamers. Dreamer.
Daydreamers. वो जिस दिन में सपने देखने वाले dream.
Okay. Daydreamers. Okay.
Done, ma'am.
Done. Thank you so much.
I think with that, I think no more questions. So we'd like to thank you, Himika, definitely for coming and first giving us such wonderful tips. I think it's so wonderful, not just building up, a brand for the corporate, but use them probably even to build your personal brands. I think that was excellent.
Important. Why else?
Very
corporations. Please build your personal brand. That takes you the longest way.
Absolutely. And in addition, a wonderful project to work on. Like you've seen, you've already excited the students, and there's a lot of buzz. And I'm sure we'll take it forward with equal buzz and have content and branding developed exactly the way you want for your company. So thank you so much, Himika. Yes, Raj and Riddhi, you'd like to say something before we conclude?
Thank you so much, Ms. Himika, for sharing so much with us, all our questions and addressing us. Thank you for removing time for this. I personally love this session, and we all have got so much knowledge after this. I'd also like to thank Vandana ma'am, the entire leadership team and faculty for arranging these beautiful and insightful sessions that help us broaden our knowledge and application of skills in the industry. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, faculty.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your project.
Thank you,
Thank you, ma'am.
Yep. Ciao. Take care. Bye.
Bye,
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
So students, I hope you all are waiting to work on the project. So we'll be rolling out some requirements and then you can apply for the project from there. Okay. So thank you for joining in for the session. Thank you, Raj, and thank you, Riddhi, for hosting so brilliantly. Thank you once again.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you to all of you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye,
ma'am. Thank you.
Bye, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.